and they say, I never heard that.
Roasting stuff.
People wanted a rabbinic interpretation of climate and the Jewish perspectives of climate. Rabbi Ariella is currently flying somewhere over the Mediterranean at this point, taking our...
With an ambition of keeping it to 1.5. So it's those events are the ones that really... But if that's going to be the majority percent, oceans, which are at record levels right now too, this year again, another global bleaching event for the corals. And they're happening, again, it's more frequently, more intensely, and the corals are having a harder time recovering from that. This has happened in the past, but again, it's that frequency, that intensity, just keeps getting upped a little bit more. The other thing too, absorbs the carbon dioxide, it's changing the chemistry of our oceans, and they are becoming more acidic. And that plays into a whole ecosystem, because it's breaking down a lot of the shellfish, that it in turn feed larger fish, and it keeps going up the chain. And we're already seeing that. That had to do with the Pacific decay. It's infiltrating a lot of things that are a little more inland too as it's starting to come up. A snapshot, we have a pretty big sea level rise program at Climate Central, and they've done some projections out in time and worked with this he's an artist and he does these really interesting pictures. But you can see here, this is at 2 degrees of warming in New York City. Just up there, that's the water starting to come down. But look what happens when we get to 4 degrees of warming. And we had these pictures done for a variety of coastal cities in the United States here, just to kind of show you what that would look like. It's going to impact, even in Philly, there are going to be impacts from sea level rise because of coming up the Delaware. And people don't think of Philly as being a coastal city, but there are going to be impacts. It's timed with the time that birds are seeing too. Probably said, oh, it seems like allergies are so much worse. Well, they are. They definitely are, because one of the things we're seeing with more carbon dioxide is more pollen, supporting things like more mosquito. Also, the growing seasons are changing. And the thing is, you have to know where it's headed to plan accordingly, to have the right crops, and to prepare for that. So they're all sort of shifting and migrating north. And so that's the seriousness of this. We're seeing real, legitimate impacts already that are only going to get worse. But why we have hope is because this is something that we can limit the worst of the impact. That's the case with a lot of things, and I know we all just went through a... Okay, back to Paris again. This is, I can't stress how monumental this agreement was. Again, it's not enough, and everyone in that space knows it. But for the world to finally agree and set a path forward of what we're going to do to solve this crisis as a global community is huge. And it's really transferred over to the private and the business sector. Because they have said, as long as we know where we're supposed to be headed, we can make plans accordingly. And we don't have to wait for government action. It can take a long time, but we can do what we need to do. And when I was over in Paris last year for this, Bloomberg was very outspoken about this, and he's very involved with this. And he was saying, you know, if you give us that path, we're gonna run forward with it. And even after the election, a couple hundred leading businesses in the U.S. that do have global connections have said they want to continue. They want to continue heading toward a low to non-carbon future. And they think it's really important. Understand when it was coming about, and it gave